Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'll be sharing an analysis on the staffing needs in preparation for the upcoming influenza season. As we all know, influenza season occurs every year in the US, and from 2009 to 2017, more than 415,000 people have died from it. This takes us to about an average of 46,000 deaths per year, and over those 9 years, 91%, or roughly about 380,000 deaths, happened to those who were more than 65 years old. This age group is considered to be part of the vulnerable population, where patients in this group tend to develop flu complications requiring additional care and medical attention. A little disclaimer, however, on the dataset: a lot of the lower age groups, especially the less than 5-year-olds, the numbers are so small that they are being suppressed due to data ethical reasons. As such, the numbers you see here might not be the actual numbers. However, it does not change the fact that more deaths occur in the older age group. So, what can we do to protect and ensure these vulnerable people get the adequate care that they need? And how do we keep these death numbers from rising in the US? How do we also make sure that we have enough medical workers during the peak season and at the same time ensure the welfare of our staff are being taken care of, which means that we're not pushing them to overwork during peak period? So hopefully by the end of this session, we would be able to answer some of those questions by identifying some of the prioritized states, and we'll be able to give our medical staffing agency some valuable input into the staffing plan. So the first question that we want to ask is, where are the deaths happening? I'd like to draw your attention to this first map on the left. What this map is showing is the population of the more than 65 years old age group in green and the number of deaths in the red circle. The bigger the circle, the higher the number of deaths. This data is for 2017. We can filter it to any year we want, but I'll leave it to 2017 because it's pretty consistent throughout the years. So for 2017, we can see California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania. They have the highest number of deaths, and this is consistent with the number of population in that age group. So the more people we have in that age group, the more deaths you'll find there. Now, to understand the severity of influenza on a state, we can measure the death rate, which is shown on this map on the right. And the death rate is calculated as a percentage of death over the population. So looking specifically at the more than 65 years old age group, we can see the states with the highest death rates are Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, and over here, Hawaii. With the exception of Hawaii, the death rates seems to be concentrated along the southeast region, and this could be due to several factors such as climate or socio-economic status of the state, and that itself warrants an additional study if we want to dive into that further. And on the last chart here on the bottom left, I've plotted the death rate for the states that have been mentioned from the two maps above. And throughout the years, we can see that Hawaii and Mississippi, they are on an increasing trend, which is worrying. So attention must be given to these states as well so that we can improve their situation and prevent their numbers from rising even further. Moving on to the next slide. This slide shows us that there's a general season when flu is worse, and it starts around November until March. This is especially prominent for states with large number of more than 65-year-olds, such as California, New York, and Texas, Pennsylvania, if you can remember. But having said that, there are exceptions to this, and if we take a look at Hawaii, it does not have, or it does not follow that general flu season. Rather, it has several constant peaks happening throughout the year. And we can also look like another state, Nevada, for example, which is almost the same as Hawaii. They don't have that very high peaks in the general flu season, but they have peaks happening every few months. And let's say we also look at Mississippi and Arkansas. We can see that they do have peaks happening during the general flu season, but there are also some activities going on in the middle of the year. So it is recommended to look at the monthly trend on a state-by-state basis to determine whether there is a need to deploy more staff in the middle of the year for certain states. So in developing a staffing plan and determining how many staff to send to each of these states, the next step is to obtain information on the state requirements for medical staff to patient ratio so that we can ensure that we're not overstaffing or understaffing the healthcare providers. Based on historical numbers from CDC, death happens about 7% out of those being hospitalized. So using the 2017 death numbers, we can estimate how many hospitalizations will occur in each state in the upcoming flu season. And we can send the required number of medical staff to each of these states based on that requirement. So in conclusion, I know this is a rather wordy slide, but let me quickly reiterate our findings and recommendations in a single slide. Firstly, states with a large population of more than 65 years old, they have the largest number of influenza deaths. The states are California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania. The states with the highest death rates are Hawaii, Mississippi, New York, and Tennessee. These states are mostly located in the southeast region of the United States. And lastly, the states are generally affected by the influenza season, which is in the month of November to March. And states like California, New York, Texas, and Pennsylvania, they are more severe in these months compared to other states. As for the next steps, there are 3 things that we can do in order to conduct state-by-state analysis to refine and personalize the monthly staff planning. Number 1 is to obtain the state requirements, as mentioned before, for all medical staff to patient ratio and map it out to the estimated hospitalization rates for each state. This is so that we know how many staff are needed in those states. After that, we need to account for states that are prone to influenza peaks in the middle of the year, such as Hawaii, Mississippi, Arkansas, for example. And lastly, we need to consider early intervention and prevention programs such as vaccination and hygiene awareness programs for states with relatively low population of more than 65 years old, but with high death rates. This is especially required when medical staff need to be prioritized to other states. So with that, we have come to the end of the slides. I hope you have gained some valuable insights from this. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.